You know, I'm risking my mechanic's license by what I'm about to do to this motorcycle, but I don't have a mechanic's license and I've never worked as a mechanic, so I guess it's okay. Let's get started. So here's what I am attempting to do today. I have two um, windshield adjustment arms that are broken, both sides. This is one on the right side of the bike, and there's another one, just pretend, there's another one that's basically the opposite of this over here on this side. I believe this one was broken when I bought the bike, and I just didn't notice it because the windshield worked fine. It's got an adjustable, it's got a button that you adjust, so you can roll down the road and move the windshield up and down. It's kind of cool. But anyway, so this one was broken either when I bought the bike or shortly after. And I recently broke this one, probably from one of the yeah, I'm pretty sure I dropped this. I dropped the bike in Texas and probably broke the thing then. And anyway, I had repaired this one just because it was a little bit annoying. It broke right about here, and I sealed the joint with some JB Weld, and apparently the stress of moving the windshield up and down is a little bit too much for the JB Weld. So this time I think I'm going to repair both of them with some sheet metal, and either tack weld the sheet metal around this bracket. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to remove this part right here, drill a hole through, and run a bolt through there and see if that works. But that's the piece of the puzzle that you need to know, and why I'm doing this instead of ordering a part. This is one side. That's the left side, and I think the right side is even more. I just can't find the right side. So, but I think it seemed like the last time I priced this out, the stuff I needed was like almost 250 bucks, and it's just pot metal crap. So anyway, I'm going to attempt to do it myself, and we'll see what happens. So today we've got a fun little project. I'm going to attempt to repair these broken little adjustment arms for the windshield. This one was broken, I think, either when I bought the bike or shortly after, and you can see I've done some JB Weld on here that held for a little while, but when I hit the little button on the raise and lower the windshield, this one snapped. So but this one broke the other day when I dropped it going up a hill in Texas in the dirt. And so I'm going to attempt to fix at least one of these today, and I'm going to do it using a prototype method that I've used before with cardboard. So basically I'm going to use this 22 gauge steel that I purchased, and I'm going to attempt to come some kind of a wrapping it around type deal, and then try to get this thing wrapped around so I can tie it off or weld it or something. But the main thing is to kind of wrap this steel around these posts in an attempt to recreate the bracketing, the mechanic that the mechanics of what I need here now that this thing is broken. These things are 100 plus bucks each, so $200 worth of crap that might break again in the future. So I'm just going to try to attempt to repair it myself with some 22 gauge steel. We'll see how it goes. First attempt is going to be creating some kind of a template with a prototype piece of cardboard. We'll see if we how far we can get with that. So now I'm going to try to get an outline of the metal that I need to bend around, but mostly I'm going to have to make some relief cuts. So I'm going to try to get this in there as best I can, which means I'm going to have to probably lay it down like that and try to get an idea of where the stuff needs to go. What I do now is get an idea the bend in this thing, because I think that's probably going to be the most difficult thing. If this was easy access and you know, all I have to do is wrap a piece of steel. If it was straight and easy access, just wrap a piece of steel and, you know, tack it together and hold it in place. Main thing is when I lay the windshield down, I don't want this thing to put pressure right here, and that's probably going to be the hardest thing that I do. So I'm going to measure, or put an outline around the basic shape of the fore and aft shaft here, and maybe just kind of generalize where the top is going to be, and that way I can get kind of an idea of where this cut needs to be, and then we'll cut us off a piece and see what we can do. Probably going to have to make some relief cuts on the top so I can bend it over, because this is kind of, I believe this is kind of what I'm trying to do here, is just kind of wrap this around here like that. I mean, not cardboard, but the metal. So I'm gonna have to make a relief cut up here so I can twist the metal or cut the metal out of the way, because this is just support. All the structural stuff is gonna have to be down here, I think. So we'll see. Time to start cutting some metal.
So I really enjoy metalworking. I'm not very good at it, but I can get by, and I've got just enough tools that I know barely how to use, and I can repair just about any of the complex stuff that I break. And you can see this is not real complex, but I can fix it, and it feels really good. So there.
I'm making progress. Just it appears to be very, very slow. So this is what I've got. An approximation of what's in there already. But so at this point I've got to see if I can figure out how to join this without messing it up too much, and have something sturdy on the other side that I can drill a hole through. And I think that's going to become my biggest issue, is the thinner this stuff gets, the weaker it gets. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but just gonna keep plodding along, see what I can bake out of this contraption. We'll see. All right, so I got pretty far yesterday. I would say I finished it, but I really want to clean this thing up. I cut a small piece here, just wrapped it around, see how well that would hold. It holds okay, but I want it to be a little bit tighter than that. So I'm gonna cut a little bit of wider piece and wrap it around a little bit better and finish this off, make it look a little bit closer to this. Then I'll hit it with some black spray paint and then put everything back together, and I'm gonna be happy with that. So I need to cover this monstrosity up, I need about, let's call that, well, 1 3/4. We call that just under 1 3/4. A lot of people are going to have a real hard time with my half-ass repairs, but I get the job done. It's mostly safe. There's no real catastrophic results from this failure, and I guess that's the difference between me and a lot of people. They don't understand the result of a catastrophic failure. It's really good to keep oil on your bike, because if you don't, you will have a catastrophic failure. You could lock up your engine at triple digits and have that kind of failure. I may be a little bit on the risky side here. This is a really good example. My oozing, not leaking, but oozing seal on my final drive, the rear end. It's basically like the rear end on a vehicle. That seal has been leaking for a couple of years. I've topped it off a couple of times, and it's only taken a few tablespoons. I know there's not a lot in there. There's probably half cup, 3/4 of a cup of rear end dope in there, and but you know, catastrophic failure is going to cost me $500. So I just kind of keep an eye on it, and you know, it's that old saying, you don't worry about your oil leak, you worry about when it stops leaking. I'm kind of from that camp. I mean, at some point I'm going to have to fix everything on the bike. That's kind of where I'm at now. Is this thing's finally starting to piss me off enough? I feel like I've got to get this thing fixed, and that's what has led me here today, is being pissed off enough and having the time and the energy to go ahead and fix this. Fixing it right? Nope, not at all. Fixing it? Yes, this will work. And you can see that already. Once I get this plate on the top of there, everything will be peachy keen. Then I'm going to hit it with some black flat spray paint, and then I'm going to put everything back together, and that'll be done hopefully before noon.
So if you've never worked with metal before, I highly recommend it. It's very therapeutic. Like I said before, it makes you feel really good. It's one of the manly arts. You know, repairing anything, anything, any household appliances, anything, motorcycles, cars, being able to change your own oil and your tires, and those are all what I call part of the manly arts. And I think it's very important for men, especially. And I think, you know, same thing goes for women. So few women want to get their hands dirty, you know, outside of changing diapers. And I'm gonna get a lot of pushback on this. But I would encourage women too to practice the manly arts. And by manly, I mean the things that, you know, the things that men can be good at, you know, given our caveman brains and the visual, what do you call it, obsession with visual things, the things that we pay attention to, the things that we see, the things that we can hold in our hands. And metalworking is just one of those things that is just, it's exceptional when it comes to how these things make you feel, especially when you fix something this was a poor design when it left the factory, and I feel pretty strongly about that. So having the ability to fix fix something that was screwed up by fine German engineering, I don't know, it just it gives me a really good feeling to have it fixed, number one, and to having overcome. Yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 guys working on these little lever arms for the windshield, which I think is kind of silly, but you know, obviously they were probably thinking about weight and cost and all those things that made it kind of crappy, and that's really why I chose not to replace it, because it's a high stress item, but it's also the same reason why my original repair didn't take, because these JB Weld is really good at compression, just like concrete. It takes compression strength very well. Has a lot of compression strength, doesn't have a lot of shear strength. So that's the Achilles heel of JB Weld. I think I mentioned that before in the graphic, but yeah. So you could do a lot with JB Weld, but in things like this where you need the windshield to kind of stay on the bike. And even if this thing collapsed, I kind of said that before, even if it collapsed, no big deal. But if you can't tell what I'm doing here, I'm taking that metal sheeting that's covering the other side and finishing off on this side. And really, this is really crap repairs, but you know, it's a step up above JB Weld, and anything else beyond this, I would have had to actually do a lot more fabrication and some welding, and I just decided to do the quick and easy route. And here I'm prepping for paint and getting ready to put this sucker, put the finishing touches on this thing. And if you can't tell, I've painted a lot. This is something that's kind of kind of half-assed too. I may have gotten some overspray, but if I did, it was down in a spot where you actually have to take a microscope down in there to see where the overspray was. And it's, you know, it's flat black on a flat black plastic or metal surface, so no big deal. But yeah, I hit this thing with some flat black Rust-Oleum, and you know, we'll see how this thing works out in the long run. But yeah, if you get a chance to work with some metal, I highly recommend it, just because it's there's a lot of wind out here too. I probably really shouldn't have been spraying, but you know, it's such a little short zap of paint. You know, I got the paint on the metal. That's the important part, and it's not going to rust and bleed rust all over the bike. And you know, it looks pretty doggone good if you don't pay a lot of attention to it. You know, if you don't know what you're looking at, you wouldn't know that wasn't didn't come that way from the factory. But yeah. But yeah, I enjoy fixing things, especially when they turn out as well as this did. I'm not comfortable raising and lowering the windshield anymore. But the very few times that I want to lower the windshield are usually when I'm going off-road and I need to see those holes in the big holes that are going to swallow my bike. I need to see those, so it's really nice to be able to lower it then. But otherwise, it's not that big of a deal. It's a big, nice cocoon airflow shaping windshield, and I'm glad to have it back and not have it falling down every time the wind blows the opposite direction. Here, I've just got some screws. They're not stainless, so I had to paint them. I picked these up in Utah after I lost the other two stainless screws off the bike going down dirt roads that just rattled everything loose. I'm surprised those two bolts are the only ones I lost. Here's my little fancy toolkit. Pretty much everything I need to do to service the bike on the road. Yeah, so I finally finished the repair and the modification. Pretty happy with it. I mean, unless you're really looking close, this one looks different than that one, but unless you're looking close, you can't really tell. And I think most people are not going to be able to tell. The only thing that I can see, there's a little bit of slag still. It's probably just because of this hole. I may wind up modifying this apparatus again so I can actually lower the windshield, because that would be kind of nice. But bottom line is, I fixed it. It cost me $8 instead of $250 or whatever the hell it was going to cost me, so I'm real happy. Well, since you made it all the way to the end of the video, I'll give you a little Easter egg here. Our new sponsor, Shade Tree Motorsports. Without their assistance, none of these videos can be made, so go ahead and go over there and check out this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.